Have you ever heard of a flood so strange, so sticky, that it left an entire city stunned and covered in molasses? Imagine a quiet Boston morning shattered by the sound of an explosion, and then a wave of syrupy destruction barreling through the streets. This is the story of the Great Molasses Flood of 1919, a disaster so bizarre that it's hard to believe it really happened. But it did, and the sticky aftermath would leave a lasting mark on the city and its people. It was January 15, 1919. The north end of Boston, a bustling neighborhood filled with immigrants and industry, was home to a massive steel tank owned by the Purity Distilling Company. This tank wasn't just any tank. It was 50 feet tall, 90 feet in diameter, and held over 2.3 million gallons of molasses. Why so much molasses, you ask? At the time, molasses wasn't just for baking cookies or sweetening drinks. It was a key ingredient in the production of industrial alcohol, used to make explosives during World War I. Even though the war had ended, demand was still high, and the tank stood as a towering symbol of the company's ambitions and its hubris. The flood covered an area of several city blocks, reaching as far as the waterfront. Rescuers faced unimaginable challenges. Wading through the knee-deep molasses was like moving through quicksand, and the cold January air caused the syrup to harden quickly, trapping victims and complicating the rescue efforts. For some, help came too late. In the end, 21 people lost their lives, and over 150 were injured. The human toll was staggering, but the sheer oddity of the disaster made it all the more memorable. In the aftermath, questions swirled. How could this happen? Who was to blame? The Purity Distilling Company claimed the tank had been sabotaged, perhaps by anarchists, a common scapegoat in the politically charged climate of the time. But as investigations unfolded, a different picture emerged. The tank had been poorly constructed, with walls too thin to withstand the immense pressure of the molasses inside. Workers had reported leaks and groaning sounds from the tank for months, but their warnings were ignored. The company, eager to capitalize on the post-war boom, had cut corners, and the people of Boston paid the price. The legal battle that followed was one of the longest and most expensive in Massachusetts history. After years of testimony and analysis, the court ruled against the Purity Distilling Company, holding them responsible for the disaster. They were ordered to pay nearly $7 million in damages, equivalent to over $100 million today. The tragedy also led to stricter building regulations, ensuring that no such disaster would ever happen again. But the Great Molasses Flood wasn't just a cautionary tale about corporate greed and negligence. It was a deeply human story, filled with acts of bravery, resilience, and heartbreak. From the firefighters who waded into the sticky mess to save lives, to the families who mourned their loved ones, the people of Boston showed incredible strength in the face of an unimaginable catastrophe. Today, over a century later, the Great Molasses Flood remains one of history's most unusual disasters. On warm days in Boston's North End, some say you can still catch a faint, sweet smell in the air, a ghostly reminder of the day molasses changed the city forever. So the next time you drizzle syrup on your pancakes, take a moment to remember this strange and sticky chapter in history. And now, let me ask you this. How do you think a disaster like this would be remembered if it happened in our modern age of social media and instant news? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible tales from history here on Epic Time Journeys.